Good morning and welcome. Happy Hump Day, Patriot Radio News Hour. I'm Joe Jaquin, CEO of the Patriot Trading Group. And, well, it is Fed Day of the big meeting between Putin and Biden has come to an end. And, well, if you're Russia, you're probably pretty happy about it. That's all I'll say. According to Vladdy, we're going to restart diplomatic relations with them. Why not? Hack our pipelines, hack our meat processor. It's fine. Yes, isn't life wonderful? And we can't wait to hear from Jay Powell and what he has to say. And, of course, listen, the whole thing's going to be one big giant lie. That's what it's going to be. But, that's okay. We're going to be ready for it. We got a great special today. I got possibly, not guaranteeing it, but Friday, we may have a super silver sale. Maybe. Working on it. Chasing it. We'll see what happens. I'm going to tell you exactly what's going to happen today, or at least what I think is going to happen today as well. And we got all of that coming up. But before we get to that, a couple of announcements that we need to make. Number one, first and foremost, hey, got a ton of new advertisers. You're starting to hear. And here's the funny thing. We got a ton more coming. So make sure you guys get out there like you always do. You're always so great in supporting our advertisers. That's what the lifeblood of the station's all about. We've got Bradley Dean coming June 28th. Mark it on your calendar. June 28th. Bradley Dean's going to be live at the radio station. We're going to have an event. We're working on some details and things that we'll give out to you on Monday. But he's definitely coming June 28th. David Knight. We don't have the date quite yet. But we're looking at sometime in August. David Knight will be coming as well. So we got a lot of great things there. Last night, I got a text from Glenn Tate. And those of you that know Glenn, he does Prepping 2.0. He also hosts the Open Forum on Friday. For those of you that maybe you did or did not know, he has been battling cancer. And he sent me a text yesterday because he has been taking our CBD product. When I heard about it, I immediately sent him a bottle. Immediate, just because I've known Glenn for a while. He's a great patriot, loves our radio station, and of course he fits right in with what he does. But he was like, it had helped him so much during his chemo. Anybody out there, maybe it's you, maybe it's a friend of yours, maybe it's a brother, a sister, a relative, a neighbor. I'm telling you, we've got a major cancer doctor here in Arizona that provides it to all of his customers. It will help you go through chemo, I guarantee it. And he was actually letting me know how grateful he was and how much of a benefit it's been, and he's actually reordering, which is all you really need to know. But CBD, it helps the body heal, but ours is different. Listen, there's CBD everywhere. There is. I'm telling you. I go to my grocery stores. They got a display of it near the checkout. You got stores everywhere. CBD, da-da-da-da-da. And it comes in all different shapes and sizes. Most, not all, but most of them are overpriced knockoffs. They don't have near the strength they claim to have, and believe me, it's like a lot of things out there. There's always a way around things. When you want the best of the best, that's where My Kind CBD comes in. Our price is the best of the best. Matter of fact, we sell it for so much less than that than when My Kind was selling it. They now just tell everyone to go to our page and buy it. That's how great our price is. Go to 1360 KHNC and hit the shopping cart button, and you'll see all the products there. We've got a bunch of podcasts for CBD so you can learn more about it. But I love it when you guys give stories like that. It's important. Listen, we want to, obviously here for this show, we provide you with, we want to make sure you got your financial insurance taken care of. Your CBD products can help you get away from all the pharmaceutical crap they keep ramming down our throats all the time. And really can help you. And, of course, it goes and supports the radio station as well. If you're one of those people, and I know I make it sound like such a horrible thing. Hey, I don't really use the internet, but I really want to try the products. Call us down here at Patriot. The girls will help you. We'll get you taken care of. And, of course, we have products available both in our Phoenix and Colorado offices as well. But I implore you, if you know someone who's going through chemo, the tincture product, that's what you're looking for, whether it's the 1,000 or the 3,000, it can definitely help you, and I hope you do it. And again, cancer's a horrible thing, and chemo's, I haven't had to go through it, fortunately, but I can imagine it's always nasty, 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 so any help is appreciated. When we get back, what's he going to say? What is Jay Powell going to say? I'm going to tell you what the most likely scenario is as to what he's going to say. And I don't think any of you are going to be surprised. I really don't. Gold and silver are rallying today. I expect that rally to continue. Talk about that next. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour here on this Wednesday, Fed Reserve Wednesday. And I would love to never talk about it because they have no credibility. They're not good at their job. Matter of fact, we'll get another preview of it again today. They'll come out with their little chart, right? Their little dot chart. This is what's so funny. Think about this. Here it is. You're the central banker of the world, at least for right now. And you've been creating all of these boom and bust cycles and creating all these crazy markets. The Big Short. Remember that movie, The Big Short? This was back during the housing bubble. When Ben Bernanke was telling, oh, no, it's just a subprime crisis, and it's contained, and we think the housing market fundamentals are strong, and blah, 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 blah. Kind of like the same nonsense you hear today. $500,000 house, now $1 million. Oh, yeah, it's all the fundamentals. Well, the guy that exposed it all, you would think, now maybe that's a guy that we should pay attention to. I mean, and I've pointed out others. How about Jamie Dimon yesterday and Tudor Jones the day before, and then the guys I like, Gunlatch and Stanley Druckenmiller, but Michael Burry is the guy. He's the guy that went out there and actually had people showing up in subdivisions, knocking on doors. Right? Nobody's home, nobody's there, no one's lived there. He confirmed after Bank of America, remember, and I talked about them as well. Bank of America pretty much said, hey, listen, this whole show and tell meeting, this glorified romper room event. Jay Powell's got, at the end, I see this person and I see that person, right? He's going to claim that he doesn't see inflation. He's going to claim that he doesn't see housing bubbles or stock bubbles or bond market bubbles. He's going to tell you that he's worried. We know that he's still got a lot of work to do, he's going to say. Well, Bank of America warned about hyperinflation and brought back the Weimar Republic. Now, the Weimar Republic, a lot of people will say, that was, what led to Adolf Hitler coming to power and all this other stuff. But we're going to focus in on what it was. We'll leave the rest of it aside. The Germans were suffering through inflation like we have today. Now, I know they're saying, hey, it's only 5%. But they say that only because they changed the rules. Right? If we go back to the 1970s and we just used the same inflation formula, which was how inflation had been tracked for decades and decades and decades. We would have double-digit inflation, which would make sense to everybody listening. But instead, they want to pretend that it's not as bad as what it is. Well, the Germans did that too, And by the time it was over, people would, and my uncle always used to tell the story, people would have money in wheelbarrows because it was worth so little. And when they got robbed, right, they dumped the money out of the wheelbarrow and took the wheelbarrow. The wheelbarrow was worth way more than the money that was in it. And I wanna read you some things that they're talking about. The government, talking about our government, is inviting inflation with this MMT-tinged policy. For those of you that don't know what MMT is, stuff up the central bankers to try to justify why it is that they're not using sound economic policy like they allegedly told us they were going to do when we put them in power in 1913. See, this is what the bankers are. Oh, we got to have a central bank. Of course, they just wanted power. Because otherwise, these banks will get reckless and be out of control. Guess what? Our central bank is reckless and out of control. So MMT, modern money theory. Yeah, see, things aren't working the way they're supposed to work. So we got to come up with a new theory. And notice how most theories are just that, a theory. It's not actual, based on any fact, especially when it comes to economics, that we can just create all this money and it won't cause inflation. I mean, essentially, I'm simplifying, but that's what it means. Hey, we can go into debt a lot more, and it's okay. And they started talking about the brisk debt to GDP ratio. Now, you won't hear this on the idiot box, the cheerleading channel, the gaslight networks. No. See, the rule of thumb, the fake rules that the central bankers had created for themselves and now have uncreated them. Think about it. We don't even get to vote on it. Congress doesn't have a say on it. I mean, they just do what they want. They had told us in the 40s, in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, the 90s, even as the millennial rolled over, 3% debt to GDP. Can't go higher than that. If you go higher than 3%, so if you look at it this way, if you had an economy that was $20 trillion, okay, $20 trillion GDP, That would equate, right? You do some public school math to about a debt of about $600 billion. And we have a debt. They're going to own up to 3-point-something trillion. But listen, our debt was 4.5 trillion last year. It'll be very similar this year. Way, way, way above $600 billion. Because, see, the central bank knew, even back then, hey, once you get over that 3% level, things start to go real bad. We're talking about levels like 700-800% higher than that number. So they had to come up with a new theory. Well, why all of a sudden is it? Oh, well, it's okay because of modern money theory. And I want you to know what kind of garbage that really is. It's total nonsense. It's a lie. It's not true. Because if it was true that you could create prosperity through the printing press, why not just give everybody $10,000 a month? What would happen? Right? Because they say, oh no, it's modern money theory. We can just do this. It's okay. Nothing bad's going to happen. Of course, we're watching the bad happen right now. Wait till crude oil gets done. I'm just telling you. Get ready. Buckle it up. Sit back, relax, and strap on the seatbelt. Because this is exactly what's going to happen. We are going to see a huge level of inflation where Bank of America and now Michael Burry think the same thing. Weimar Republic style inflation. Because really their only other choice, they've only got two choices. Let the inflation go or stop it. How do you stop it? Start raising rates. Of course, what would happen? Could you imagine what would happen? What would happen to housing? Where, I don't know, a 30-year mortgage is what, 3 something right now? Just stopping taper brings it to 4 something, raising rates, right? Can you imagine going back and having to pay 7 or 8% interest on a mortgage? Prices would fall in half, maybe more. Of course, remember, who owns a lot of these houses now? You know who owns them. Wall Street owns them. And they crush the stock market, right? It crushes it all. Crushes the recovery. I mean, listen, whether you like it or not, there's still 15 plus million people collecting unemployment benefits. Crush it all. I don't think they don't have the nuts. Jay Powell's no Paul Volcker. He's not going to do it. The life of inflation in its ripening stage was a paradox which had its own unmistakable characteristics. One was great wealth. At least those who favored the boom. Many great fortunes sprung up overnight. Right? We saw that. We've seen that, right? We got the dot-com millionaires again. Just like, remember the tech bubble? It's almost like that again. But now it's cryptos and AMC and what's the other one? Oh man, I'm drawing a blank. But you know, GameStop and all these other crazy things. Prices in Germany were steady, and both business and stock markets were booming. The exchange rate of the mark against the dollar and other currencies actually rose for a time. The mark was monetarily the strongest currency in the world on the eve of inflation. Remember the dollar just a little over a year ago was like 103. It's now 90. Trying to hang on to 90. right? We're the strongest currency in the world still, but it's been slipping. All the, the signs that I promise you, Jay Powell's not going to see any of them. Side by side with the wealth were pockets of poverty. And we see it all today. Did you see Venice Beach? It's such a dump hole now. It rivals San Francisco. Homeless people everywhere. Look at all the violence. Look at the crime. And pretty much a few exceptions. But most of the major cities in this country are turning into cesspools. Up in New York City is now one big homeless encampment. I'm not kidding. The crime rate soared. We'll get to, we're running out of time when we get back. Comparisons today to the Weimar Republic and what Jay Powell's going to say at the Fed meeting. Don't touch that. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. This is why you buy gold. I mean, this is really the main reason. To protect yourself from what the central bank is doing to the fiat money. And mind you, listen, all fiat money goes to zero. This isn't doom or gloom. I know it sounds doom and gloom, only because, when you think about it, why are we letting these people behave like this? We know it's wrong. This isn't new. Every central bank in the world always does the same thing. We need to end the Fed. Ron Paul knew it. All of you listening know we need to end the Fed. We don't need a central bank. Or if we do, which we could do, a central bank that actually enforced rules. Then yes. Central bank that's in charge of creating money out of thin air. Central bank that's in charge of taking interest rates to zero and using ridiculous economic theory that only somebody with their head so far up their backside could actually believe. We don't need that. And now you got Bank of America. Look at Jamie Dimon said. Jamie Dimon, baby. He's not going to be this brash like Michael Burry, but he should be. Hey, dude, we're not buying treasuries. We're going to wait. We're waiting. For what? Well, hyperinflation. Because he knows I can't hedge the treasuries because the dollar's going to sink. That's not how it's supposed to work. So they're talking about Germany. Side by side with wealth, pockets of poverty. Greater numbers of people remained on the outside of easy money. Right? Think about it. Can't buy a house. Right? No. Nobody's getting paid enough. They got 15 million unemployed. Crime rates soaring everywhere. Accounts of the time tell a progressive demoralization which crept over the common people. With the breakneck pace to no visible purpose, and their fears from watching their own position slip, while others grew mega rich. Think about it. From Me Too to Black Lives Matter, defund the police, racial tension. We've got all of this stuff. Men playing women's sports, and it's gone crazy. Even now, some of the crazies, like Jon Stewart, are like, "Wow, wait a minute, maybe we've gone too far." Yeah, this is it. Almost any kind of business could make money. Business failures and bankruptcies became few here in America. Look at what did we do? Oh, we got a moratorium. Hey, your business is in trouble, fill this out. Here's some money. The boom suspended the normal process of natural selection by which non-essential and ineffective otherwise would have been called out. Boy, didn't we do that? 40 million people still aren't paying student loans. Of course, nobody's paying them. People haven't paid their rents in how long? Can't get evicted. Right? We've destroyed the normal process of how things are supposed to work. Speculation alone, while adding nothing to Germany's wealth, became one of its largest activities. Isn't that what we got here? I mean, I've got an 18-year-old son. He's got an E-Trade account. Well, I don't know if it's E-Trade. It's not E-Trade. I forget which one it is. Robinhood or one of these. Both of my kids, they're all doing it. We've seen this movie before. They were saying everyone from the elevator operator up was playing the market. In Germany, because this was back before computers, the bourse would have to close a couple of days a week just to catch up on all the paperwork. By the time it was done, all the marks that existed in the world in the summer of 1922 were not worth enough by November of 1923. So think how quick that is. To buy a single newspaper or a ticket to get the train. A spectacular part of the collapse. But most of the real loss in money wealth had actually been suffered much earlier. Throughout these years, the structure was quietly building itself up for the big blow. Germany ran not for a year, but for 9 years in gestation of creating the big collapse. And look at what we've done. How long have we run now? We've actually run a little longer than 9 years, haven't we? Go back to Janet Yellen and Ben Bernanke and quantitative easing and bailing out of the banks, right? And all of those things. Defying the natural order of things. And perpetuating an even bigger problem. And this is where they see it. And this is where I see it. And I'm not going to yell it. I want to. None of you out there can imagine what's coming. You can't. This is it here. We don't know it yet. But this is the end of the dollar. This is the end of the Federal Reserve note. What Jeff Gundlach is saying, what Ray Dalio is saying, Stan Druckenmiller is saying, Jamie Dimon is saying, Bank of America is saying, Michael Burry is saying, I want you to understand what they're really saying. It really doesn't matter what Jay Powell does. The walls have closed in. So you've got two choices. Prick it now and have a huge explosion. See, if we had done it when we should have done it, these bubbles bursting wouldn't be so bad. But remember now, the only solution they've ever had for the last 50 years is create more debt. Now we're stuck. We've got hyperinflation. We can't fight it. And we've got a central bank that's willing to ignore thousands of years of economics to try to say it's not happening. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Most of the wholesale, there's not a lot of product out there. I think a lot of product's going to come out later this afternoon. They're all waiting. Most of them are in the camp that the Federal Reserve is going to ignore it. They may acknowledge that they're talking about taper, but that's premature. In other words, we'll see later. We've talked to a few people, brought it up, but we're not committing to any taper, which I can guarantee you they're not. Inflation. They're going to pretend it's not happening. They're going to stick to transitory. Believe me. They're going to say that there's warning signs about the recovery. And I think a lot of people expect gold and silver to come roaring on that news this afternoon. I don't know. Don't know. But I expect Jay Powell to be as dovish as possible. That's my expectation. And that's pretty much everybody's expectation. So wholesalers don't want to lower their price. They think this is just a bunch of the window dressing and that gold's popping right back and silver along with it. And same thing with Wall Street. I've got 40 $10 liberties. This is it. And the price is great at that 1,050 price. If you want to take a shot here before the meeting comes out, put some gold away. $10 liberties at 1,050. $20 liberties are $21.55. Here's the problem: they're $21.55, but no one's got any. I mean, you got to go up to AUs to get 20s, and now you're talking $2,200. Like I said, I've got a funny feeling that come tomorrow there's going to be product available, but it's going to be what the price is going to be. That's the question. None of the wholesalers want to sell gold for less. I can tell you that right now. And I think most of them think that the Fed is going to acknowledge that they've discussed taper, but they all agree that's too early. I think you're going to see them with their little dot charts on rate hikes. I think you're going to see the vast majority are still sticking to, we're not 2023, maybe 2024. There may be one guy that gets aggressive, maybe. But that's, think about it. That's ridiculousness that everyone's going to be watching where they put these little dots on this chart about where interest rates are going to be at the end of this year, next year, the year after, and beyond. They haven't been right on one of those charts in 20 years. That's why I said, shouldn't we hold them to some kind of a standard? Hey, you got it wrong last. And you know what? Here's the funny. They do this chart every meeting. They got 8 meetings a year. Hey, you haven't been right in 40 meetings. Maybe it's time for you to go. See, but if you force them to be right, they won't give you, right? They won't be able to cover up their lies. That's kind of the problem. So that's what's expected. I don't think they're going to do anything on rates on these overnight repos. Right? Remember, this is where banks, they're not buying treasuries. They're not buying bonds. They'd rather leave the money at the Federal Reserve and get nothing. And people say, well, maybe the Fed could charge them to leave. They're not going to. Because remember, I explained to you why the money's there to begin with. The Treasury ran down its balance sheet by like $1 trillion. That thing is over now. And I think we're going to see over the next 90 days, those overnight repos are going to come way down. Because at that point, they're going to be forced to buy them at the auctions. So right now, we've had $1 trillion of borrowing that they didn't have to issue any debt for. Now they got to start issuing it again. So I don't see it. I really don't. I think you'll see them say they'll probably drop the inflation is running below its long-term target. Right, that'll go away. But I think they'll immediately follow that up, that they fully expect inflation to be running right around 2%, and they'll say, that's going to happen next year. So there you go, right? So don't worry. Yeah, it's above it now. We're not going to address that. And longer term, it's going to be 2.1%. Something like that, or 2.3%, or 1.9%, and they'll pick a date in the future. That's just what I see. I don't see anything different because, listen, here's their only two choices. Like I said, burst the bubble now, or wait for Weimar Republic to take hold. And that's how they're going to, listen, they already know what's next. Why pop it now? They're not ready to pop it now. Right? The digital dollar, the central bank digital currency is not ready yet. It's not ready. So I don't think they're going to pop it now. If it was me right now, right, I'm probably buying some today, and then I'll wait just in case we get a pullback tomorrow, even though that's probably not likely. It could happen. You buy a little more. But again, if gold shoots up, right, the pullback's over. 800-951-0592, Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment coming up. 800-951-0592. Again, anything could happen. Right now, gold's up 1860. The Dow's down 100. The NASDAQ, or the S&P, I'll get it right. Silver. I'm trying to say silver. Silver's up about 10 cents here, 27.80. The S&P's down. The NASDAQ's down. But again, everyone's waiting. What happens this afternoon will depend on dots on a chart. How many dots move towards raising rates a little sooner? Which is such a fallacy, right? Because they're not going to do it, right? I mean, inflation, let's face it, inflation's double digits, even 5%. Okay, let's use your ridiculous number of 5%. That's 2.5 times more than what it's supposed to be. You should be raising rates now. Not, oh my gosh, somebody moved it 3 months sooner in 2023. Are you kidding me? But that's what it's going to be. That's my opinion. The dots on the chart will tell you if it's uber dovish, right? Look out, right? If it's the other way, and again, I don't even know what wouldn't be dovish. If someone actually put someone, if the majority of them started saying we're going to raise rates by the end of the year, that would be something. But they're not. I don't even know that anymore. We'll say it 2020. So this would be nothing more than a dog and pony to where they try to give credence to the center. Ooh, look, go away. 2 people thought, well, maybe a little earlier. Please. This is the problem. Inflation is punching us all right in the face. Look at crude oil. It's up again today. Marching towards 73. I mean, $1 last week, $1 this week, $1 the next week, $1 next, on and on and on, and they're doing nothing. And here's the one thing that worries me the most. There's a reason they're doing nothing. There's a reason they're doing nothing. They're afraid. God, if we do it, and this thing's going to break, and we're not ready. They're not ready. The digital dollar isn't ready yet. That's why you put that gold away. 800-951-0592, the remaining $10 liberties, and then we'll wait. We'll see what tomorrow brings. I'm hopeful more product will come to the market. It's been really slow. We've been talking about this, how hard 20s are to get now. We had to deliver, case in point, we had to deliver 140 20s to Colorado. It took almost 10 days to get that many there. It's just been really slow. $10 libs much faster, and the price is much better. 1,050 today at 800-951-0592. I will know sometime tomorrow. We may have a Silver Eagle special Friday. Just saying. I won't know until after I'm off the air tomorrow, though, so that's kind of going to be I think. I may know a little earlier than that. We'll see. If it happens, maybe we'll get lucky and have it tomorrow. But I'm hoping before Friday that we'll be able to offer those as well. But $10 liberties. Want to play the Fed here today? 1,050, 800-951-0592. God bless everybody. I can't wait for tomorrow.